So Daniel, LinkedIn has been pretty vocal about the fact that they're cracking down on the use of automation tools on LinkedIn, like AI commenting tools, basically anything that produces inauthentic forms of engagement. They are trying to track it down, and if they find that your account is doing something like, generating hundreds of automated AI comments every single day, then you're at risk of getting banned. And I understand why their VP of product and their management has been saying this, because at the end of the day, LinkedIn should be a platform for individuals, humans, to interact with each other. And when you introduce this element of AI generated messages and responses, then it feels sloppy and just inauthentic. But at the same time, there's also this tension I feel with the other side of things, which is all the people that are on LinkedIn to run a business and to capitalize on the value on the platform and what makes LinkedIn so unique, which is, hey, there's so many decision makers at these companies that I could potentially have a business interaction with that could lead to a big deal. Anyone who's on the platform for that purpose is going to want to save time, scale up their efforts, and a lot of times that involves the use of some of these software tools that people have built. So I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but for me, it feels like this constant battle between LinkedIn's desire to make sure that it's still a fully human platform, but then a lot of the users also wanting to extract value from the platform in as efficient a way as possible, which AI is just so good at. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, or if you've experienced or even tried some of these tools yourself, or heard about what other people have been doing with it or their perspectives there.
Matt, of course, I have a lot of thoughts about it. And I'll put these two specific posts that Matt and I are mentioning right now, both from VP of product at LinkedIn. One talked about some of the top voice purge, where a lot of top voices have lost their badges because of using like automated DNs or some of these tools Matt's talking about. And another one from a different VP of product about automated commenting and what LinkedIn's doing to stop that. And kind of why I think this tension is happening between a lot of these creators and the platform LinkedIn is because the creators and the platform are playing two different games right now. I think LinkedIn is thinking about these changes over like a 10, 20, maybe even 50-year horizon, thinking, okay, we need to make sure this platform stays human. Whereas a lot of these creators are thinking, wow, there's a huge opportunity right now to leverage AI. What can I do in the next year to just scale up my personal brand and get as many impressions as possible? So I think because of this clashing of goals, really, because I don't think LinkedIn wants necessarily the creators to be putting out this much AI content. They want to keep it as human as possible because they think that will keep more users on the platform long term if they're not seeing as much AI slop, as a previous guest, Jeremy Boissino, said. So that's to me where I see a lot of this conflict right now, and where I think we'll continue to see it over this year, because this is a huge year for LinkedIn now that they're finally talking a lot more to creators and being much more proactive with things on their platform that they previously weren't.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Daniel. And the reason why I paused there a little bit is because I don't know if you saw the recent news, but there's this new social media platform called Moltbook, which recently came out. And for those in the audience who may haven't heard of this before, it's essentially the first social media network that is completely run by AI agents. And so it's where AI agents interact with each other. It's not a human first social media network. It's honestly an experiment, but it's crazy to see. And if you go check it out, you'll see there's hundreds of thousands of these AI agents on Moltbook that are just interacting with each other. They're posting, they're upvoting, they're commenting. And it almost makes me think that's probably a very extreme version of what a fully AI dominated social media platform could look like. LinkedIn and Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube were still 100% or primarily human run in terms of the ideas that are being produced and the content as well. Yes, there's probably an increasing proportion of AI created content uh, on LinkedIn, but it just makes me think, at what point is it considered too much AI content on a platform? At what point, where do you draw the line between what's acceptable? Because obviously, a lot of people now use AI to write LinkedIn content. And I won't lie, I also use AI to sometimes revise some of my LinkedIn posts. So maybe there's a broader question or a deeper question of whether it is acceptable to have AI posts and AI comments on social media to begin with. Does that detract from the value or the validity of it?
It's funny you bring that up, Matt, because at the start of our podcast in September, we were talking about how when you post on LinkedIn, there's a write with AI button when right by next to the post button, where LinkedIn is trying to incentivize you to test their AI. And LinkedIn's owned by Microsoft, who owns Copilot, and they're a very AI forward company. And I don't know if it was Moltbook or whatever it was, but something definitely changed on a lot of these social media platforms, not just LinkedIn, where I think they're trying to avoid this Moltbook outcome. So I am kind of curious if LinkedIn will slowly get rid of that right with AI button that they get. And I think it's a premium feature that they give just for premium subscribers. But it the sentiment around AIs has definitely changed just in the past 6 months. It's crazy how fast things are changing, and people really are craving more of that human desire. And it's so, so hard to tell where you draw that line, Matt, of was this too AI generated? I don't know how you could do it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Daniel. And I actually just went onto my LinkedIn account to see that button. And it's actually it says rewrite with AI. So it's not gonna write a complete post for you. I think the intention here, at least from what I can observe as a user of LinkedIn, is that they want you to use it as a revision tool. They don't want it to create original content or original ideas for you. Because if the AI is coming up with that, then technically the idea for the post isn't actually coming from you. So it's fascinating. I think that nuance is important. Rewrite with AI instead of like write with AI, because it's not like LinkedIn has a chat function that says, okay, tell the AI what you want it to write a post about, and then it'll create it. It's no, it's you have to actually type something, and then the button becomes available to rewrite with AI. So whether or not that's actually effective, and to be honest with you, I'd love to see some data on who actually uses that button on LinkedIn. I suspect there's probably a sizable amount of people that are using it, but most of us, myself at least, if we're going to use AI, we've got ChatGPT or we've got Claude or Gemini up in another page, and we're using that to revise the post, and then we're pasting it into the actual posting tool or in the native LinkedIn post UI. So we're not actually hitting the rewrite with AI button in the LinkedIn post tool. At least that's not what I do.
I don't know either. I think it's too late in the process for most, or at least a lot of the guests we've talked to, where the button is placed. And I also don't think it's totally clear if it's trained on a lot of LinkedIn post data or not. I haven't seen anything about that, but if it was trained on a bunch of LinkedIn posts, that would be cool to see, of course, how it might suggest based on your previous post. But I haven't used the rewrite. I mean, I've tested it out a few times, seeing what it would do, but to me, it was still too AI generated. I'm not sure the text there yet. And something that also was interesting to me to see on LinkedIn the past week is that the CEO, Ryan Roslansky, put out a pretty long article. And if he's writing newsletters on LinkedIn and not post, it just makes me wonder if that more dopamine hitty, short, punchy LinkedIn post is something that they're trying to move away from. And they're trying to make LinkedIn, but by they, I mean Microsoft and the leadership of LinkedIn, a more curated platform where it's humans being much more intentional with the amount of time they spend in every comment and the amount of time they spend in every post. And I don't know, I'm just hypothesizing here. I'm really not sure where this is gonna go, but it's so exciting to see so much attention being brought to creators and all these functions and products on LinkedIn.
One thought on Ryan Roslansky posting these long form LinkedIn articles rather than short, punchy little posts. I do think that there is probably still a opportunity for businesses to leverage LinkedIn more fully. And what I mean by that is most people, when they go to LinkedIn to post, they're posting short form content. I don't actually know what percentage of LinkedIn's user base has linked a LinkedIn newsletter or runs LinkedIn Lives. And something that I learned recently was that LinkedIn Pulse, which is, don't quote me on this, but LinkedIn Pulse, which is the long form publishing platform where users can write like longer articles, share industry insights, and I think it's similar to the newsletter functionality, but it may be separate.
Update from the editing booth. Pulse is a company that LinkedIn bought and then integrated into them. So when you see Ryan Roslansky's post here, if you look at the URL, it says linkedin.com/pulse. So that's what you'll see when you look at other newsletters on the platform. Hope this helps. Back to the episode.
Apparently, that is a very powerful source of AI search citations because it's seen as very authoritative and credible and high trust. And I mean, we could have a whole nother conversation about geo at a later point, Daniel, but I think that maybe one of the reasons why Ryan is posting these long form articles is not just to establish his own thought leadership, but also because there's maybe he sees an opportunity there that other people haven't picked up on yet. That's my hypothesis. It could be completely wrong, but I'd love to see what happens over the next 6 to 12 months. Is Ryan going to continue publishing this? Are we going to see more people shift over to that? Because Geo on LinkedIn is still, Geo and its relationship to LinkedIn is still fairly new. We know that it's important, but we don't know exactly how or what people should be doing. That's just my initial thoughts there.
To give the audience some context too, GEO is just like SEO, search engine optimization, but for ChatGPT. And what Matt and I have been seeing is that LinkedIn posts do really well in ChatGPT and becoming a great, source of truth or whatever you want to call it for coming up in ChatGPT. And that's what now we're just talking about with LinkedIn Pulse. And I also want to give one more caveat before we close out this episode that I think who these LinkedIn VPs are talking about when they're mentioning the use of AI for these AI commenting tools or AI outreach, it really applies to probably less than 1% of users. But because of the amount of volume they're doing, it's disproportionately affecting the user experience. So I bet most of our audience, Matt, hasn't touched a lot of these materials or is having these problems. It's literally such a small subset that we're talking about, but it's so loud because of the amount of volume they're pushing out on the platform. So if you're listening to this right now, worried about if I should be using AI when I'm writing on LinkedIn, the odds are is that you're doing nothing wrong. Matt and I use AI all the time to write on LinkedIn. And to the people that say they never use it, like, I don't always totally believe you. And it's just not I don't know why it has a bad rep to use it, but it just does, unfortunately. So hopefully Matt and I can change that a little bit for you. So keep posting on LinkedIn. The opportunity is still there. This does not mean Matt and I are bearish on the platform at all. Like, especially seeing how well LinkedIn performs in ChatGPT searches is a source of truth. It makes us even more excited that I'm even out of breath right now. So, Matt, do you want to take us home?
I completely agree with what you said, Daniel. I think that LinkedIn as a platform is evolving very rapidly. AI tools, models, everything are evolving just as, if not even quicker. And the important thing here, taking a step back from all of the noise, is that you're continuing to post content that keeps your viewer, your audience in mind. It doesn't matter if you use AI or if you don't use AI, or if LinkedIn shifts the algorithm in another 3 months. There's people on the other end of the screen. So this isn't mold book. It's still hundreds of thousands of real eyeballs that are looking at your content. And if you can create content that actually speaks to your audience, speaks to them in a very deep way, maybe solves some of their problems or makes them feel seen or heard or understood, then you're already going to be miles ahead of the competition. It's just as simple as that. I think it's very easy to forget at the end of the day that content creation fundamentally is just about being able to make another person feel understood, to solve their problem, to entertain them, or to do maybe all three of those. And the best content creators that are going to outlast everyone else, regardless of how the tools change and what new AI updates happen or algorithm updates happen to LinkedIn, they're still going to win. So if you can do that, then I see no reason why you won't be able to grow on the platform in 2026. But thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.